What's up? What's up? How you guys doing? Welcome to another episode of the Big Classic Talk Podcast. No, it's not that, is it? It's just
the Big Classic Podcast.
Yeah, you gotta use that. Okay, cool. Big Classic Podcast. Okay, so and I'm fumbling today. It's after the Arnold, so I'm just
a
little fatigued. But this is my co-host Walter Sellers, my other co-host. What's your name? Rashad Scott, and I'm Fred Biggie Smalls, and we are here to discuss the Arnold, discuss some other topics, and I don't know why you're showing me that, but we are here to enlighten you, show you some things, and discuss what's important to our clients, because that's what we go with, right? Whatever our clients ask, that's what we want to put out there. So
before we get started, though, boys and girls,
we got an exciting contest to tell you about.
We have an exciting contest. We have the Renaissance Transformation Contest. It is a transformation contest that will give you 2 lower level seats to see Queen Bee in Washington, D.C. in August. And this is not a weight loss contest. This is a body transformation contest.
Right.
So it's all about how you look. And the judges are all right here. So you can send in your registrations. The link is right here, right below, and somewhere else on this video. You'll see the link for the transformation contest to buy your registration. Now, pre-registration is going on right now. Right now, until March 31st, pre-registration is only $75.
And that $75, obviously, that's a steal to get an opportunity to win Beyonce tickets. But they're also getting what?
They're also getting 1 bottle of Shred-em.
Yes,
now,
absolutely.
This pre-registration period goes until March 31st. After that, we open the registration up, and it's going to be $129 for your registration fee. And that's going to go until April 30th. The contest itself will run from May 1st until June 1st. And until June 30th, so July 1st.
July 1st. Yeah.
So 2 months to make the best version of yourself. Here's the key. If you register now, you can send your pre-photos in right now.
That's it.
And then you can get started a little bit early.
Absolutely.
And when the contest kicks off, you'll get your bottle of Shred-em. And you will also get your workouts that'll be downloaded into the app that comes for free when you sign up for the contest. And that way you'll be able to track your goals, interact with the community, and interact with us, myself, Fred, and Rashad, as time moves forward.
And the important thing to understand is it's not about who loses the most weight. It's about who creates the best change. So whose photos before and after look the best is what we're going to go with.
That's it. He's not BB Pro. I'm a wannabe bodybuilder. Rashad is a personal trainer. And we work together. We'll pick the,
Rashad trying to do a show this year?
Sure, Rashad's going to do a show this year, too. I am, too. I'm going to do about 4 of them, but...
I'm a fitness professional.
I'm sorry, he's a fitness professional.
You know what, that's my bag, because that's what I teach my guys all the time. Don't call yourself a personal trainer, you're a fitness professional. So
that's it. So anyway, we'll give you sample meal plans. Everything is all included with this transformation process. And my sincere hope is that each and every one of you register. Grab a friend, tell them to join, too. Right now, it's only $75. You can't even go to dinner for $75. You can't buy 2 days of groceries for $75.
How many?
2 days of groceries for $75.
Where are you shopping at? But it is a great deal, because you're getting a great fat loss product.
Sure.
You're getting you're getting guidance, and for that you can't get that for $79. So,
exactly.
So that's far exceeds the value.
I agree.
Right. So. But yeah, man, and coming off the Arnold Classic this past weekend,
bro,
that was exciting.
I had outstanding times. I wish that we could have made bets on odds in Vegas with this contest.
Yeah, well, the contest is one thing, but all the expo stuff,
bro, it was crazy.
It was nice to see it back to where it was. Like, I think it was back to the level it was pre-COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great time to see all the people. For me, I'm trying to do the Masters. So I'm doing the Masters Olympia this year.
Sure.
So it was good to see all the excitement around that, and just to see the fellows, my fellow IFBB pros, to see all the fans that are just there trying to get motivated themselves. I mean, it's just a great experience.
One thing I liked about the Arnold that's different than the Olympia is it felt, I must hate using the word it feels, it felt like the pros and the competitors were a lot more accessible than at the Olympia.
Yeah.
You know, I was riding the escalator. Andrew Jack was going right up the escalator. Nobody knew it was him. Had his hoodies on, had his earphones on. Yeah. But I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he just turned his head to the side like, please don't say nothing, bro. So I just let him roll up the escalator.
Well, hell, we're working out in the gym. We're working out right next to Nick Walker and Sean Clarita, yeah. So,
you know,
I mean, absolutely. And, you know, we're eating dinner. You turn around, Hunter Labrada's right there.
Right there.
Along with Cindy Gillian. And, you know, and for you guys that don't know, Cindy Gillian, she's 6-time Miss Olympia in the figure division. So
that's it.
You know, it doesn't get any higher status than that.
Right.
And, I mean, it was just everywhere you turn, there was a way to motivate yourself.
Facts.
You know, and everyone's there with a common goal of just trying to get their best health, their best shape of themselves, you know, their best body. So it's just
in the words of Arnold, it was fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah. You know, I got kind of choked up. They had this tribute to Flex Wheeler. And, you know, when Flex Wheeler is someone, and when I was, I think 19 years old, 17 years old, you know, I used to have a hard time keeping my room clean, which anybody that knows me, they would never guess that. But my father said, you know, you want to go all the way to Roanoke, Virginia. Now, remember, during this time, there was no Instagram, there's no YouTube, there's no Facebook. So just the younger generation now, they want to see their favorite bodybuilding star. It's like, which video do I want to pick? But back then, it wasn't like that. You had to, if you saw a bodybuilding show, the results weren't in a magazine until 4 months later. Sometimes longer than that, depending on what show and what time of year it was. It was a big deal to see your favorite bodybuilder. I mean, Flex lived in California, I'm over here in Delaware. So when he was coming to Roanoke, Virginia, it was like, oh man, I'm gonna drive there. That's a 6-hour drive from where I'm at. But I was so excited to see him. You know, my dad was like, well, clean your room. That room hadn't been cleaned in probably a year and a half. I stayed up all night long, cleaning that room down, no sleep, and jumped in the car that morning and rolled to Roanoke, Virginia. And when I saw him, I was just so excited to get an autograph from him, because this is the guy who you had seen on American Muscle. But you couldn't just pull up a video at any time to watch it, right? Yeah. So like, if I wanted a video of Flex Wheeler, I had to order his VHS ticket.
Yeah.
What is that? A VCR. His
VCR, right?
So you know what a difference it was at that time, and so I met him, and I was like, man, wow, you know, like he was so big at the time, and then to fast forward to my start of my pro career, and I'm traveling and seeing him, and we're hanging out, talking and having lunch, to fast forward a few years later, we're sponsored by the same company and we're doing a booth together, to now where, you know, when he was sick the first time when he went into coma, you know, him and I were talking, you know, the next day after he got out. Right. You know, like he sent me a video. And, you know, I look at him on stage on Saturday night, he's getting that award, and the speech he gave, to see how much he's grown as a person. You know, like, I mean, it's crazy. Like, I admired him when he was younger because he had that attitude, like, I'm the shit.
Right.
I can do this. Nobody's better than me. To being humbled, and now giving all praise to the man upstairs and saying thank you for even the struggles you've put me through. Sure. Because it's brought me out a better person, right? But to see his growth and have the conversations and to see him get honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award, you know, at the Arnold was special for me to see. Sure. You know, special for me to see. So
I had a shorter interaction with Flex at the Olympia this past year. Had a chance to sit down and talk with him for a good 20 minutes. Yeah. You know, he autographed the hat and the t-shirt and stuff for me, and we talked about just some of those same things, just discussion of how important it is to spend time with your family and the ones you love, because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. You know, you want to be prepared for it, but at the same time, you still want to live your life to the fullest. So don't let go of your dreams because they're lofty. Keep going. You know, it's okay to keep going. You know, don't wake up at 70 or 80 years old and wonder what if.
Yeah. I mean, I always say to people, don't set your goals too low.
That's right.
Because when you achieve them, then it really messes you up, right? Because it's a lot easier to set a goal high, set it super high, something you don't even think is possible. Just set it there, because when you're striving for that, as you hit all the successes in the middle of that, if you didn't set your goal high enough, then it becomes harder to keep pushing yourself to get to want to gain more and more and more, right? So, and I say that because, I was talking to Nick Walker's parents, and I was saying, what makes your son so special is he just never misses. He has relentless effort towards his goal to be Mr. Olympia. And had I set that goal to be Mr. Olympia, see, my goal was to be on the Olympia stage.
Sure.
But had I set it to be Mr. Olympia, then when me and the coach weren't moving in the right direction, I would have had the what's the word I'm looking for? Not motivation, but I would have had the assertiveness to look at him and say, okay, time to move on.
Right.
Go on to the next one. If something got in the way of that goal, I would have had the discipline to say, sorry, no. But because I achieved everything I sought after achieve, I wanted to win a pro show, I wanted to make the Olympia stage, I wanted to guest pose around the world. Those were my goals, and I hit them all. But I didn't set them high enough.
Right.
Because had I set them higher, I know I could have achieved more.
Right.
And so when I talk to young people now, I'm like, set your goals as high as possible. Because once you're comfortable and you've hit some of those successes, if your goals aren't automatically set, your vision board's not big enough, it's hard to get out of that space where you're hovering.
Agreed.
Right? Because if you're hovering in a space that's comfortable, it takes you to put yourself around some more successful people, some people that are having greater success to keep yourself moving forward. Right? So you'll be sitting there in the same place feeling good about yourself.
That's it.
It's good, you'll feel great about yourself if you're sitting there driving, I won't say driving because I don't want to seem superficial, but you feel great about yourself if you're helping 10 people every day. You're like, man, I'm booked. I'm doing 10 people a day.
That's it.
Until you meet that guy who says, well, I got 1,000 people I'm helping, and this is how I'm doing. Then you're like,
Right.
shit, I could be helping that many more people? I'm slacking.
That's it.
Right? So, and that's what life's about, right? How do you continue to push yourself to go to the next step?
That's it.
Right.
Is to continue to have that goal. One of the guys I listen to in the morning when I'm doing my faster cardio is I love David Goggins, right? I don't know if you listen to him or not, but he is one of the guys who embodies the next challenge. Great, you became a doctor, you're a better doctor. You did a 5K, great, do a 10K. Now do a marathon. Find the next level. Your bodybuilder will be a better bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Your husband, father, brother, whatever it is, keep setting that benchmark further and further along. That way you're continually not settling for just being average.
Some people can't do that though, because somebody we know, I heard him talking about David Goggins. You know how I read his book multiple times, or whatever, especially during COVID and whatnot.
Sure.
But they said, I just came across, they was just pretty much overheard their conversation saying how David Goggins is, I don't remember exactly what they said, but it was pretty much saying that what he's doing is too much. And I was just like, that's why you are where you are now.
Bingo.
And I don't mean that disrespectfully. This person has achieved some things.
Sure.
And definitely have high goals of what they want to reach. But that person is not teachable based off how he conducts himself. And then when I heard him say that, and it's just like, that's why you're this, that's why you're that, talking about David Goggins. And having read his book and having read his second book that just recently came out.
Fantastic book. Right.
It's just like, how can you just say that at face value? Yeah, his body is destroyed. I think he's just turned 40 something.
50.
Okay, 50. I didn't want to say 50. But yeah, he's 50 something. He's like, yeah, I fucked myself up, but I don't regret anything I did.
Well, I think there's a level of, so I'll take it from the standpoint of bodybuilding, right? People would say, maybe Ronnie Coleman did too much, but the man has left something bigger than himself.
Yeah.
You can't. Every bodybuilder that has done it and will do it going forward will know who that man is.
For sure.
Right? Like, there are some wonderful, amazing champions. Okay, I'll take, God rest his soul, my brother Sean Roden, for instance. Fortunately, you know, he saw his dream come true. He won Mr. Olympia. But 10 years from now, will they be talking about him? They'll be like this. Who's that guy that won the Mr. Olympia? Because he didn't really stamp it.
Right.
Right? Well, Ronnie Coleman stamped it.
Yep.
Sure.
You know, he did things no one ever thought possible.
Yep.
Right? He is the reason why we have guys that are now 297 pounds, and everyone's not saying you're too big.
Right.
Because he's the first one that got on stage and showed what 293 pounds could look like shredded.
Yeah.
You got to have guts to do that,
That's
right?
it.
You have the guts to train that hard. He was the one that said, you can get shredded if I add a little barbecue sauce to mine. Like, he did things nobody else did because his genetics allowed him to do that, but his work ethic matched it. Genetics were superior to everyone, but no one outworked him either. And I think David Goggins says, yeah, I fucked myself up, but I did things that no other man would dare to do.
That's it.
And there's empowerment in that.
Absolutely.
Empowerment. So if you think he's doing too much, then try and achieve a quarter of it.
He even says that too. He's like, don't equate yourself to me. He
Right.
said, because
That's
I'm not, you can't do that because I'm my own person and I'm achieving my own demons that I'm fighting against or whatever.
Right.
He said, but fight against your own demons. Whatever is holding you back from being your best self, do that. He says that multiple times, but people take that so far in the context of
Well,
go hard.
I think people, it's easier for them to look in the mirror and be okay with themselves, knowing and saying, he's doing too much. You don't have to be that extreme, right? It's like people say to me when I train, you know, you don't have to go that hard. You're destroying yourself every time you train. And I'm saying, yeah, but look at what it's produced.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 47 years old and still always one of the thickest dudes in any gym I go into. And I'm still doing it on a daily basis. Yeah, it hurts, but I still enjoy it. I'm doing what I love to do. So if that's not the way you want to do it, then take the principle of relentless effort. Because that's what it's about. Whatever you want to do. If you want to be at home and you don't want to work out, that's fine. Don't work out. That's your prerogative. But realize your quality of life won't be with those that do work out. But don't sit home and complain about it either.
Nope.
Man, my diabetes is fucking me
tell
up.
me I'm too
No,
much.
get up and do something about it.
That's it.
Right? Don't talk about the man who's bringing his, his Tupperware and his food to the family event and call him rude. You know, when he's sitting over there looking at you, who can't even get out the chair.
Bingo.
Right? So it's, everyone has their goals. I'm not going to judge you for not wanting to push hard, but don't judge me for wanting to be on a different level than you.
That's it.
And I think that's what it's about.
And I think people settle in their own mind and they say it to me. I'm sure you've heard it, or even yourself, Rashad. You're just different. Nah, cuz I'm different. You know, I put my pants on one leg at a time.
Oh, man, I breathe the same air you breathe.
Oxygen. You know, the difference is mediocrity is a choice, right?
It is.
You choose to be average. You know, David Goggins lost 100 pounds
Unhealthy.
in 3 months. 100 pounds in 3 months. So one of my clients, 120. One of my clients said, Walter, well, I can lose 100 pounds. I said, no, you can't. How can you say that? Because I know exactly one human being who's done it. Exactly one.
Yeah.
And what I know about you is you don't have to discipline for 1 month, let alone 3.
Yeah, like a client go, it's not working. And you dissect, okay, well, if I'm using condiments that have 50 calories in it
It's a wrap.
on every meal,
That's it.
times 5, that's 250 times 5. You know, now we had 1,250 calories for the week that you done added. And we haven't even got to the weekend where we know you fucking up.
You know, that's the crazy part. You know, I have a lot of female clients. We talk about this all the time. And I always use the Cheesecake Factory as the best example because I don't want to talk about all the different brunch spots that girls go to, women go to. I use Cheesecake Factory, for example. Ladies, I have a caloric deficit of 3,500 calories for the week. For the week! So if everything goes exactly right, if you eat exactly what I say to eat, and you work out exactly what you're supposed to work out, you will lose at least 1 pound just off the diet, right? But you go to Cheesecake Factory, appetizer, $250, champagne, $250, meal, $700. So we're at $1,250 already, $1,200 already. Oh, cheesecake, $800.
Now it's at $2,000.
Coffee. So in that one meal, you blew up your whole week.
Yep.
You can't tell me it's not working. You can't tell me I'm different. You can tell me I'm disciplined.
Right.
You know, the road to self-mastery, I think Will Smith said, is through self-discipline.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to be the one responsible enough to take ownership of yourself. It's about the discipline that you have to take within yourself, and the ownership of yourself is what you're doing when nobody else is watching. It's are you eating right? Are you doing cardio? Are you training as hard as you possibly can every single time you're in the gym?
Yeah.
You know, are you doing as much work as you possibly can every single day that you're at work? Are you making yourself better to sell your more widgets or to help more patients? So whatever it is that you do on a day-to-day basis, are you taking ownership of the fact, could you be 1% better?
Yeah, I think that word, you know, discipline is everything, right? Because you're always going to have moments you don't feel like it, whatever it is. And that discipline to say, I just have to get it done.
Yeah.
You know, and like one of the stories I always use and tell people when I got started, I was so determined to be successful to prove my dad wrong that I could do this business. And you can make money and you can do well, okay? Because there were no examples of really anybody doing 6-7 figures personal training. You know, there was like one personal training handbook in all of Barnes and Noble, which it wasn't Barnes and Noble, it was
Borders Books.
Yeah. Back then.
Date yourself on.
So when I, shit. And I just remember, you know, I made a deal with myself. If I didn't hand out a certain amount of business cards every day, I wouldn't sleep in my bed. And there were a couple nights that I was like, shit. I went home and I'm like, I didn't give these business cards out, so it made me go back out because I was committed to the goal I'd set for myself.
Right.
And that discipline to stay committed, because the reality of no one's going to make you do it.
Right.
You have to be self-disciplined to make yourself do it.
Right.
You know, and until you master that aspect of it, you're always going to be, nothing's really going to work optimally for you, right? Like, we got back last night. What time did you get home?
I get home at 10:30 on Sunday night.
Okay, so I got home at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And, you know, we could easily said, we didn't get anything done all weekend, let's just push it off to another day. But it's important that we commit and stay to this time, because the consistency is what's going to generate the momentum for us, right? So, and I think that's what most people lack. I think that hurts more people than anything else.
It's the water in the rock. That's right. You know, the idea that you can throw a rock in a puddle and it's going to make waves. But after a while, the waves are going to dampen and the water will be back smooth.
Yeah.
And it all looks the same and the water is one.
Right.
But you know, but if you put the rock on the table and I drip one drip of water on that rock every single day for however long, I'll cut a hole right through the rock.
Yeah.
I'll make the Grand Canyon. You know, it's all consistency.
Yes.
You know, in sales and whatever, in bodybuilding. You know what? It's gonna hurt. The first part of your life while you're lifting weights is gonna hurt because it's heavy. The second part of your life is gonna hurt because you're old. So, but that difference that your body is gonna experience, you know, not being susceptible to getting colds. You know, not or recognizing when something is wrong.
Yeah.
You know, that connection that you take by lifting weights and by putting yourself through the test every day, those are the things that make the difference, you know.
I mean, how about this though? Like, just being able to walk into a room and automatically you command respect.
Bingo.
Because you just, you just look different.
That's right.
You're stronger than the average. Your posture's better than the average. You know, I walked into a gym one time, a guy who plays in NFL, like you used to, right? So you're already the 1%. Jesus. But,
You've been on Olympia stage, bro. So.
Shit. Are we seeing?
Yes.
And you won a video game tournament, right?
I mean, I came ninth place.
Out of millions, though, right?
That one was 300.
300 people?
Yeah.
Still pretty good.
Still pretty good.
You know, some winners up in this joint, right? We know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I just think that, you know, when you talk about consistency, man, how fucking awesome was it to see Sean Clarita up in that joint, smallest dude up there, but consistently just that dude looked
I'm telling you.
crazy this past weekend, man.
My goal is to go pro in IFBB naturally.
Yeah, I mean,
And it's going to require me to be a giant killer. Right? It's going to require...
Bro, you're 6 foot. You ain't no giant. You're 6 foot. No, I think. I mean, I love the goal, and I know we can achieve that. You know, I turned Eddie pro as a bodybuilder naturally. So, you know, and it just takes that crazy level. I mean, it all takes levels of discipline, right?
Exactly.
You know, and it all takes. You need to be cut from a different cloth to be able to make this work, right? But I believe if you have that relentless effort to make this thing and see it through, it is definitely something you can do.
Sure.
I admire, more importantly, the fact that you're not. You know, like I get these clients that come to me, and they haven't even done a show, and you know, when you're like I'm a big believer. If you're over the age of 30, there's nothing wrong with doing a little testosterone. The reason why is because naturally your levels have already started dropping, right? So there are outliers. Like you're an outlier. I mean, the amount of muscle you're able to create, the level of thickness you're able to hold on to when you diet is complete outlier to what most natural guys in their 40s can do, right? You're 40, right?
44, brother.
Right, 44. So that's not normal, okay? But, you know, if you do a little bit, it ain't gonna hurt you. But anyway, that's a different story.
Another story.
Different
Another
topic
day.
for a different day, right? But if you come to me, 21, have never competed, and you're like, I want to do this, this, and this. Like, I almost want to look at you and go, you haven't even tried.
That's it.
Your body's still at an optimal level.
I had that conversation with these kids. I'm sitting down outside the expo. He goes up to me. Because I was doing the virtual with a client while I was sitting there. A guy here sitting there, young kid, early 20s, maybe late teens. And he says, "You're a coach?" Yeah. He says, "Well, I'm going to be studying kinesiology. I go to college, blah, 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 blah. And what are your thoughts to become a personal trainer or a coach or whatever?" I said, you know, whatever it is that you're going to do, you got to stick with it, put your clients first, blah, 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 blah. You know, the usual spiel. He says, "But obviously you work out, you train." I said, "Yeah. You know, I competed in the Olympia and then other shows." He's like, "The Olympia?" I said, "Yeah." We talked about it a little bit. He says, "But you're natural." So?
Yeah.
So and he's like, I said, to tell you the truth, son, and I could literally call him a son because he could be my kid.
Right.
I said, you know, you have to figure out what your potential is first.
Right.
Maximize that and then consider going, because once you're on, your brain is going to change because you're going to get bigger, and now you're stuck because you're not going to go smaller again.
Yeah, I mean,
typically that's the case.
I mean that's the case.
That's
hard to. I mean, it's no different than anything in life. Like if you're used to driving, I will use the driving scenario in this. If you're used to driving a Honda Accord, you think you're in a good spot until you drive the top of the line Lexus. then you all fucked up.
Or Mercedes.
Well, I use Honda because actually Acura, right? Okay, so but until you drive the top of the line luxury car, you feel fine in your Honda Accord. It's nice. It gets me from A to B. You know, it's smooth. What more could I want? And then you get the amenities and the feel of that luxury car. You're like,
it's a wrap.
That's why I tell people, you know, like, it's one thing to see it, another thing to touch it.
That's it.
You know, and I found that out firsthand, you know, like 2012 when I did the Olympia. You see the pictures, people see pictures like, oh, I could look like that. No, you can't.
No, you can't.
Like, it's a different level in person.
Bro,
when you see it in person, it's different.
It's a whole other story.
I was already a pro bodybuilder and I didn't realize it. So I was backstage at the Olympia and I looked at the level of conditioning. I said, holy shit.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
You know,
as an amateur.
The level of density to the muscle.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, damn, okay, game on. Got to step my level up, you know, and but you don't realize it because if I've never been into a 10,000 square foot home, sounds nice, but doesn't really feel real, right? So it's like I can say to myself, not that big a deal. It becomes harder to push for it. Right. But if I've been in that 10,000 square foot house, I've seen the heated floors, seen the walls that you have no handles and you just go like that and they open.
Right.
You know, look over the mountaintop and see that amazing scene and realize it's possible I could look out my bedroom window and see that every day. Then you're like, shit.
Step my game up.
Now you got a reason to work a little harder, right? You know, like I always tell my son, like, you know, when he was talking about, I don't really care about driving. I said, well, I think that's because you don't know what it's like to drive.
There you go.
Put him in the car. All of a sudden, that joker was doing what he needed to do to make sure he could get his car. So, you know, I think sometimes you got it. When you have a goal, if you're kind of uncertain, you can't motivate yourself, touch what you're trying to, you know, put yourself in a situation. You know, if you see yourself in a big office complex overseeing the staff, go to a big office complex and just sit there and envision it. You know, now follow around someone who's doing it so you can see him doing it. I went to Gary Vee's office and I was like, holy shit.
Right.
This is possible? Like, why can't we?
Exactly.
You know, and I think that's what people, that's a big part of why people don't push themselves a little harder because they don't even know.
That's it.
They don't know what they don't know, right?
That's it. That's the realm of possibility. You know, it's Landmark 101.
Right.
It's you know what you know. You know what you don't know, but you don't know it. But then you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And that's the rest of the universe.
Right.
You know, and it's a tiny view as to how big visions and how big companies kind of get their start, right?
Right.
I mean, who'd have thunk that the biggest, richest company in the world would be started by reselling comic books?
What's that?
Amazon.
Oh, shit.
And he was literally in the back of his Honda Civic, the Honda Civic station wagon, was it Civic? I think it was Civic. The Civic hatchback. Driving books campus to campus, bro.
Wow.
Campus to campus. And that's what it was on. It was a bookstore. And now.
Amazing. Yeah.
Everything.
Any and everything.
So. On to this Honor Classic.
Well, hold on. I want to do one thing.
Uh-oh.
Rashad has stepped up tremendously. So what got you to really want to push as hard as you've been pushing lately? Because, I mean, my man's logging over 50 hours these days a week.
I don't know, because, like, last year we was talking about just doing my show because I had nothing to focus on. And, like, that was the most focus I ever was when I was in prep for my show, among other things that was going on at that time. And then, I guess, even though I didn't complete or even get on stage last year, the fact that we were heading towards that and just being busier with that, I don't know. I guess something just clicked because I can't pinpoint one like I could say, yeah, my girl Kristen, I could say that, but at the same time, I don't know, something just around that time, like July, August, even September, something just clicked between, all right, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this, and I'm still doing stuff. Like today I actually had a day off, kind of, but last week I was here for 17 hours straight, didn't leave. And I'm fine with that. But balancing that between editing this video, new girlfriend, moving out of my house now, selling my house, a whole bunch of stuff. And so, I don't know, it's just, I guess I'm more focused on it now, and then I'm seeing like the changes that it's applying to my life to get to where I want to be. So I guess the touching of it type thing, like saying, oh, well, if I work this hard, this makes my life a little bit easier. So I might as well take advantage of it and do it. So I don't really have a pinpoint thing, but I guess the touching of finances.
It's like momentum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like momentum, you know. It's like it's like you put your mind wrapped around one goal that forces you to be more structured. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, I got to be at the gym twice today doing cardio anyway. Yeah, I can schedule it this time. And because you're more focused and got a purpose,
that's it,
every day to get up, it's like you become more motivated in other aspects of your life. You know, like other things. You're like, if one thing's going good, you just tend to be better in other areas.
Facts.
And when you got too much idle time, like you ever stay home and just watch TV on a Sunday or Saturday, just like once a year, right? Like, I mean, that doesn't really happen for me much.
I'll say it.
But let's just say it doesn't really happen. But here's what happens. Let's say you get sick.
Sure.
You stay home, you start watching movies all day. Next thing you know, you feel lazy. You feel like, I just want to watch another movie, right? Because it's like you get in that rut, you know, and it's like it consumes you and it just draws your energy down.
That's true.
But if you're like disciplined enough to say, you know what, let me get up and do one program.
That's
all of a sudden, you're in a rhythm with that and you feel like working, right? And it's like, right, and I'm like, damn. Like, there were times when all Sunday in my life, I would complain about why my business wasn't doing what it did, but Sunday morning was spent NFL countdown,
right?
NFL pregame, watching 3 or 4 games. And I look up, I'm like, shit, I ain't done nothing productive today. I haven't done one thing productive today. So if I can tell you guys anything, make it a point to do something productive every single day, no matter what. It sounds exhausting, but I'm telling you it's worth it. Every single day, something productive.
Yeah.
Even just read a book.
Yeah. You know? I mean, Admiral McRaven, you know, leader of Navy SEALs for many, many years, said it best. Start your day, make your bed.
Yeah.
Get a win. Get your first win of the day. When you wake up, get up, make your bed.
Yeah. My girl make my bed, but what I do every morning is I do give 3 texts of gratitude every single day, and I do make sure that I drink 32 ounces of water every morning.
16.
Right? 16? Yeah. So basically what we're saying is establish a morning routine that gets you in the habit of winning. Right? Even if it's just sitting in the mirror, looking in there and saying some affirmations to yourself. I expect success. I expect to win. I will be awesome today. Whatever your affirmation is, you form it for yourself. But that in itself gets your mind set in the right direction. Your mind doesn't really know what's real; it knows what you tell it. Right? So if you tell it I'm awesome, you tell it I'm going to be productive, you tell it you're going to win the day, you'll start moving that way. You know, you'll start moving that way. You won't be sitting there going, it's going to be hard today.
It's a tough one, right?
Like here's my favorite one. Person gets 2 hours of sleep and they say to themselves, I'm going to be tired. Well, you already know you're going to be tired.
Right.
So I promise you, because this works, because I've spent many years on very little sleep. If you tell yourself, which I do not recommend, you definitely want to sleep to grow and to be healthy. But if you're trying to create some things, sometimes sleep's not an option.
That's right.
And if you tell yourself, well, shit, I slept 3 hours, I'm good for 6. Because if you sleep 8, you're good for 16.
That's it.
Right? So if I say I'm good for 6, get myself a little 20-minute nap after 6.
Bingo.
I can keep rolling for another 6, you know. So it's all in how you look at it, you know. Or sometimes I don't even look at the clock. I fall asleep, and tell myself I'm going to get 6 hours of sleep, even if I know I'm only getting 3.
That's it.
Sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, it works.
It works.
It works. Because, you know, I remember I'm doing the Toronto Pro. My son is up all night long. And if I'm stressed out about not getting no sleep, and my show's in 2 days, I'm holding water. I'm looking terrible. But so I'm literally in my mind like, I'm good. I'm getting plenty of sleep. I'm gonna sleep on the plane. I'm gonna sleep here. I'm gonna sleep there.
Right.
And I'm putting that in my mind. You know, and it. I'm not saying it worked perfectly, but I walked away with top 3 at the show, right? Where I got no sleep at all. I'm taking care of my son, and you know So I'm telling you that self-talk, it works.
Absolutely.
It works.
Absolutely. You know, there's no plan B, right? It's all gas, all ahead, 100% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, you know, to see those guys on stage this weekend, man, see like someone like Samson Dauda, who was 6th at the Olympia.
Who I said was going to win?
You did say
I
was
said
going
was
to
going
win.
to win.
I think I said what, Andrew Jack was going to win? Didn't I say that?
No, you said Nick Rami was going to win.
Did I say Rami?
I think you said Rami, bro.
Rami looked good, bro. They just didn't reward him. But I don't think I said Rami. I'm pretty sure I didn't say Rami. And I did say I wanted Nick to win, but I swore I said Andrew Jack.
Nope.
We're going to roll the tape.
We can check the tape.
Yeah.
There, I'm putting it up there. You can see it right now.
Yeah. No. When you do the thing, put it up there, right? But Samson Dauda, last year 4th, comes to Olympia looking like a whole different person. 6th, and you know, just think about the level of dieting,
Bro.
without stopping.
He said he took a week off?
And back on, right?
Back on.
Yeah, man, that week off is a killer too, man. You sitting there like every day trying to just consume as much shit as possible because you know, man, on Monday I got to start this shit again, or on Sunday I got to start this again, right? And you're sitting there, but he looked phenomenal, man. Like, I mean, the crazy thing about it is if you go shot for shot, I actually only had him winning 2 shots outright. But just his whole silhouette, the thickness he presented, it was just hard to deny him.
Exactly.
He presented well. He posed well.
Yeah.
Like I mean, the man was.
He was on.
His routine was dope. It was pretty good, you know.
But Andrew Jack's routine was fire.
It was pretty.
It was fire. I mean, it was Flex Wheeler-esque.
Yeah. It was good. It was good. It was good. You know, it definitely. But which one was doing like the boom, boom, boom to every sound? Wasn't that Samson Dauda?
No. That was... I think it was Akeem, bro. It was Akeem. No?
I don't remember anything being great about Akeem's routine. But I remember Samson, I thought. But either way, he looked phenomenal. Props to him on winning. Thought Nick Walker looked great.
He did.
Thought Nick Walker handily crushed everybody in the back double bicep pose.
Yeah.
And I had him outright winning the side chest pose. What did you think?
You know, I think that if you were to analyze pose by pose, I can't tell you that Samson won any one pose outright. He was a clear cut, this is his pose.
I thought he won the back lat spread pretty handily. Like I thought his back lat spread is wider than everyone else's.
Wasn't it wider than Rami's?
Well, Rami's not in the conversation, bro. We're looking at top 3 right now.
Okay, I'm saying, but they were on the stage at the same time.
There was nobody on earth that thought Rami was winning.
Agreed.
Everyone thought it was. No one could decisively say Andrew, Nick, or Samson was winning.
Right.
So between those 3,
between those 3, yeah,
I think Samson won the back lat spread.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was his pose. Andrew Jack.
He just, Andrew Jack presents well. Obviously, his physique is damn near flawless, but to the side, he needs more thickness.
Oh yeah.
Once he adds 8 pounds, 6 pounds, and Cycle has got him on it, bro.
I texted you while we were watching, and I said, they brought Andrew in too skinny.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But as he posed, everyone else started fading. He kept getting better.
Harder. Yeah.
He got better. But the next night, it's interesting because I watched a podcast with Rex Muscle, and they were like, Chris needs to fill him out a little bit more for the next night, but he won't because Chris will play it safe.
Right.
And Chris's exact words were, we do the same thing, I'll let everyone else make the mistakes. And I think if Andrew had been a little fuller, maybe
he wasn't going to win. It's too far apart.
Maybe
too far
second.
Apart. Second place.
Maybe
right?
second, you know.
You could have won second.
Which is a swing in like 60 grand.
So I thought it was a shock that they split Samson and Andrew.
Yeah, right.
That was shocking.
Like, how do you justify that?
Because the looks are totally different. You know, this is mounting for arguably one of the best Olympias ever. This year,
this
coming
year.
up in November, is going to be.
It takes you back to a time when, like, you had Phil Heath and Kai Green battling it out. You had Jay Cutler and Ronnie for years.
Yeah.
This could be something where you see, like, Nick, Andrew, Samson, Derek, Hottie,
and potentially Michael Krizo.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Or Good Vito.
I mean, I don't know what he's going to look like compared to everybody else.
Good Vito is 300 pounds right now, bro.
I don't know what he
Quentin
looks like.
Beastwood.
I don't like it. Quentin's the real deal.
You know,
I mean, there's a lot of young, up-and-coming bodybuilders that have great shape. So, like, you know, and that's important because everyone's talking about open bodybuilding dying.
No.
And when you see someone like Andrew Jack and Samson Dowda up there.
And they're aesthetic.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the little waist, aesthetics flow, and they're heavy and big. It's like, the big boys are always going to sell it out.
Always
gonna
every
sell
single
it out.
time.
Yeah, because, you know, if you like classic, you got to love Andrew Jack, Samson Dowda, and Quentin, right?
Yeah.
You got to love them, right? Because they got that beautiful aesthetics. Obviously, Derek Lunsford has beautiful aesthetics. You know, so
Bumstead.
Well, Bumstead's in classic, so you know. And what I'm saying is, everyone's starting to talk about how classic's making a push to. You were in that audience when classic finals. Classic finals ain't look nothing like the
the main event.
You know, like the big boys will always be what's going to sell it out.
Facts.
Right, because as much as people want to look like the guys in classic, they marvel at how the guys in the open bodybuilding look.
For sure.
They're like, wow, like I could never do there, so holy shit.
You know, standing next to these guys, right? I mean, I'm 6'1", 231 pounds this morning. Standing next to Samson, I look like a kid.
Of course.
I mean, Samson's 300 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, and with 5%, 4% body fat.
Right. Yet, Sean Claridia stood next to him. He's 180 something pounds, but he's like 5 foot nothing.
5 feet tall, 5'1". Yeah.
Is it 5'1"?
5'1".
Yeah, 5'1". So I mean, that's monstrous.
To be almost 200 pounds.
Shredded to the bone.
At 4 or 5%.
Yeah,
unreal.
That's unreal.
You know, I going backstage, and when I went to the athlete, the meet and greet before, you know, I texted you and I told you what I thought.
You're like, I can without a shadow of a doubt say Patrick Moore is going to be last. Oh shit! I mean,
it's true.
Patrick, I ain't knocking you. I was last
all
the time too, so you know.
You know,
I bounced back the next week and got top 6, so I expect you to do the same.
That's it. Well, he's doing the Cali Pro, which he's won twice.
In May, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be an interesting time. So, you know, with Samson, Nick, Andrew, Rami, Clarita, Akeem, you know, met him, talked to him, and he didn't have the same fire, right?
Akeem?
Yeah. You know, it seemed like he wasn't turned on about the show.
Was he not turned on, or this is the best conditioning we've seen Akeem in a long time?
But he didn't have the same excitement, you know?
Was he dead?
I don't know.
Like, you know, people that talked to Ramon in Classic said he was dead.
Absolutely. He was completely fried.
Yeah.
But he also almost didn't make weight again.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a hard weight for him to make.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, Bonac was himself. You know, I'm a fan of Bonac. I actually paid to get an autograph photo of Bonac because I happen to like him as a bodybuilder.
Yeah, I wonder what his mentality is, because he did look a lot better than Olympia, and he lost to a bunch of guys he was beating before. You know,
it's hard. You know, Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah, I mean,
He's
the body just doesn't pop the same, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought he looked great. I really did. I thought he looked great.
He did.
I just think that you know, I was talking to his coach, and his coach said they want him to put on like 15 more pounds of muscle.
From where?
But at that level, you're going, you got kids, you got a family.
It's not worth the risk.
Is it worth the risk? It ain't worth the risk. Like, I know for me, when the Masters Olympia prize money comes out, if it's like 10 G's, I'm not doing that. Right? Because it's, I'm settled in my life now. Like, I got the kids, they got all their activities. They're all on board with me doing it, but it's got to be worth it because
it's got to be 80 or 90 grand, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with 40. It's got to be something that if I take a month off, I can duplicate.
Right.
And it's one of those things where it's like it's a great title to have.
Sure.
Right. So is that legacy of being a Masters Olympia champion? Because Robbie Robinson is iconic for being one. No, Vince Taylor is the last one, right? Actually,
no.
Dexter Jackson
is the last.
But they didn't pay him, right? They didn't really.
They never paid anybody for that one.
Really?
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
No one got paid on that one.
Yeah, I mean that woman's.
That's a Victor
Martinez
was talking about.
But it used to be a big deal, man. Like people got excited. Don Youngblood was a champion one year. God, rest in peace. And then you got Vince Taylor won it like 5 times. But these were things where they were doing major photo shoots. They were doing major things because of that title. So it would be cool to have the title.
Right.
And it's not even just about the prize money, I guess, because it is more about the legacy.
Right.
Right, that it leaves to be able to say, I held that title. But yeah, man, being out there definitely motivated me to get rolling. It got me motivated. Like training with you in the gym that day and just being in there in that atmosphere where everybody's like, I think the thing that tripped me out is I'm looking at the guy in the muscle leg booth, I'm looking at the guy in the gym, and these guys are in their 20s, late 20s, and they're saying things like, I grew up being a fan of yours. And I'm like, I'm not that old. But you figure if 10 years removed, if I'm, I turned pro at 35.
Right.
And, but I started being in the magazines when I was 32 or 2006, right? So for 31. So if they saw me in the magazines when I was 31 and they were 18, that'd be about right? So they did grow up watching my story and kind of seeing what I was doing. So, but it was a cool feeling on one hand because they were like, I'm a big fan, quite a few people. But it was like, damn, am I that old? Am I that old? But it's just crazy. I don't feel that old, but it's kind of cool. Yeah. It's kind of cool.
I don't have any cool stories like that. My life hasn't been that exciting when it comes to my sports performance once I got, into adulthood. But, it's still a different feeling. Like for me, when I walk into a typical gym, ordinarily, I'm a stronger person in the gym, big person in the gym. But then walk into the gym and, you see Breon or Indio Champ and these guys, it's like, it makes me want to go, come on, play them up. Let's see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to see, what it's what it's like, But I did just to kind of put a pin in this. It was a good experience, to kind of get the chance to be at the Arnold, when it was big, right? Because it was the 35th anniversary. 35th anniversary. And then to watch Arnold walk through all the fans, slapping high fives and doing all that kind of stuff, and watching these are children, 16, 15 years old, that don't know who Arnold was, except through videos like this. No Arnold movies coming out now. Yeah. None came out even 15 years ago.
Nah, man. He had a couple movies.
Yeah, Terminator. That was it, bro.
He had some other movies.
Yeah.
He was the one where he was like a father or some shit,
He ain't it ain't the same. It ain't Conan the Barbarian, bro.
Bro, I'm watching all of them. It's Arnold, I'm watching. Him and Sylvester Stallone, I'm watching. Oh. I asked the client today, I said, what are your 3 favorite movies? And she named 3 movies I didn't even know. I'd never even seen any of them. I'm like, American History X, You seen that?
Yeah. That's
a
old as
pretty
hell.
famous movie.
Who's in that?
Michael Douglas, ain't it?
No, Ed Norton.
Ed Norton. Yeah.
He's racist and shit.
Yeah.
So I need to see that, huh?
No, it ain't.
That's where the famous curb stopping scene comes from.
Curb stopping.
Yeah.
Vocalize, what are you talking about?
Can't talk about those fans on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah. Essentially, he's part of KKK.
Oh.
And he curb stops a black dude. Put his teeth on the curb.
Oh, shit.
And then things get done to him in prison.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
As far as it sounds like, yeah.
Oh, wow. So it's like payback.
Yeah.
It's a full circle.
It's yeah.
So it's a good watch. It's hard to watch being black.
Does it make you angry?
It'll make you angry quick.
What?
It'll make you angry quick.
Yeah, but it's still a good movie.
Like Rosewood makes you angry quick, you know?
Like,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard nothing but good things. That's a good movie itself. But it's one of the things where you leave, you gotta like, I can't be around.
I need a break. Yeah, I need a break.
I can't be around some people.
I'm antisocial for a little while. See you when I see you.
That's how it was when they showed us Roots every year in school.
Yeah.
Every year, from kindergarten to 7th grade, we watch Roots every year.
Really?
Yes, I'm talking about blacks. That, any slave movie you could think of, we watched. Remember the Titans, all of that stuff.
Miss Jane Pittman.
Huh?
Autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because we watch so much stuff. I'm just like, I'm saying I need a break in 4th grade.
Right.
Bro, that gets tired. Seeing that every year.
Yeah.
It's so funny because, like, you know, being in an interracial relationship and seeing some of the movies, you realize that, especially younger Caucasians, don't even really know about that side of what's happening. They don't. And like, I've had people I'm dating or I was married to be embarrassed for themselves when they see how we were treated by their ancestors. Right?
How about how we are treated even still today?
I got an interesting take on that, right? Because here's the thing. I always believe in it like this. America gives you the opportunity to create and do whatever you want to do. We just might have to work harder to achieve it. But there's enough of us, I think there's enough of us that if we would help each other out, boom, instead of tearing each other down, that would be great.
Agreed.
We'd be great. Like,
Agreed.
you know, I say it all the time. People come into me and will talk, say, man, these people were saying this about you. They were talking this about you. I'm like, they were black, weren't they? And I'm like, it's crazy to me. Because I've tried to help so many young brothers.
Young sisters too, specifically.
Yeah, I know. Seen them. I know.
Try to help them. And I got one cat that I helped. And I love him to death. But his opinion of me was so jaded when he met me because of what other people were saying. And it messed him up because when we sat, he didn't ask me to sit down. I pulled him over and I said, I seen him training people. I said, you got to be a superstar. I was like, I know you're making tons of money. And I was like going to rap with him about, you know, maybe collaborating on some stuff. This man told me what he was making. I'm like, bro, you treating this like it's a hobby. What you bring to the table is phenomenal. Your charisma, your enthusiasm, and the fact that you do know what you're talking about on top of it. Because there are a lot of people that know what they're doing scientifically or by the book. But if you're not in the gym applying those nuances and doing it on a daily basis, it's not the same. Hence why you have all these gurus out here talking about you don't need to lift this heavy, you just need this angle. Well, who have you produced?
That's
and then
it.
you got the nerve to look at someone like Chris Psycho Lewis, right? Who is producing Olympia champions.
That's it.
Who's working with guys at the top level. And you look at him and say, Charles Glass, and say, well, they're not technically doing it the right way.
Obviously they are.
Obviously they are, but the shit works.
That's it.
It works. And let's be honest. What does science do? Science is not about coming up with it. It's about studying what's working and finding out why it's working.
And how it can work on this specific person.
Right. So, are studies really being done on bodybuilders?
Nope.
No. It's the guys in the trenches that are working out on a daily basis and training people to get them to a different level.
And inventing the equipment to do it. Bodybuilders invented this equipment.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But the point is, like, you know, when someone has put out enough practical evidence that it's going to work, how do you turn your nose up and say, well, science says?
Exactly.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Or bro science. Last time I looked, who are the number one coaches in bodybuilding? Chris Aceto, who openly will say, yeah, I'm not a dietitian. Right? Hani Rambod, who some of the things he says would not coincide with what's being said in the books.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact.
I watch his podcast and watch him train people. All right, sit there. Now flex. What are you doing, bro? Just flex. Increase your mind muscle connection after you do intense set.
Which some gurus out there will say is not a real thing.
And meanwhile, I can tell you personally, mind muscle connection is everything.
Oh, I think it is too. But they'll say because science says.
Yeah.
And then I look at the results of what Hani is putting out there, and you go,
Bro.
It's undeniable.
Undeniable.
Like you had this whole thing where, you know, one guy was saying FST7 doesn't work. I ain't gonna call him out, but FST7 doesn't work. I mean, come on, dude.
Bro, he's got Phil Heath.
He's got 22 Olympia
champions.
22.
Men and women, multiple divisions.
22. Nobody else can.
He got chips.
You got another one that's talking poorly about Chad Nichols. At one point, Chad Nichols had everybody in the top 6 at the Olympia.
Yeah.
And the female Olympian champion at the same time.
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry.
Right?
It's undeniable. Right? Like, and you just say to yourself, you know what? If you're not in the trenches applying it on a daily basis, stop talking.
Mm-hmm.
Put your theory out there. I respect that. But don't shit on someone else's approach.
That's it.
When you are not producing the same results.
That's it.
Right? And there's thousands of guys out there that have YouTube channels.
That's it.
Right? And there's something for everyone. But if you have put someone at the top of the sport, like that's like somebody saying that Jalen Hurts, quarterback coach, didn't know what he was doing. You can't say that. Jalen Hurts transformed himself tremendously.
That's it.
Doesn't matter if he doesn't have a release like Dan Marino. It matters that he's putting the ball on the dime every single time.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, and maybe that's not the best example, but my point is, it's not about just what's in the book. It's about what we're actually seeing.
Right.
Right? What we're actually seeing done. Like I heard this explanation from a guru that's really, really good. And he says, I don't let my guys do whey protein because have you ever seen cheese? Try not to laugh when he said this. And he says, it's soft. If you eat that shit, you're going to be soft. That doesn't make any fucking sense at all. But his people are fucking winning, so I'm not going to say shit. Like, his methodology might be right, but not for the right reason.
Right.
And so, you know, again, I'm not going to say he doesn't know what he's talking about because his people are winning.
Yeah.
Right? So,
that's all the evidence you need, bro.
That's all you need, right? The evidence you need. Hey, you're winning.
Yeah, as long as the fat don't absorb back.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
I haven't seen his dumb ass around here either. Have you?
We gotta talk about that.
What, does he just come in early so he can avoid me?
Say, remember the person you talked to about earlier?
Mo?
No, well, that person too. But nah, the same, multiple people.
Yeah.
Remember you said you didn't care about one, but now it's more than one? Yeah. We'll talk later.
Really?
Yeah, again.
He's still being dirty?
Yeah, I forgot to tell you about that.
This guy.
After a show, Really, I don't like negativity.
It ain't negative. Here's the thing. This is a good lesson. If you're going to run a business, run it legit. Right? Why you want to be in a position where you got to duck and hide and I'm going to train somebody? Like, if your trainer is doing this, I'll train you at Planet Fitness for this day. I'll train at the YMCA this day. I'll train you at this gym this day. They ain't established. First of all, if your trainer is good enough, he got so many people, he ain't got time to be running around like that for you anyway. Right? So why wouldn't you want to work with somebody who's legit?
I run around to a lot of people. That doesn't mean I'm not legit.
That's in home.
I know, because I'm going to their house.
That's
Right, yeah.
That's your business.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
not
I
saying
do.
that. I'm talking about the trainer that's like this. When the manager come by, he going to act like he doing a set. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We
That's
know
different.
him.
Yeah.
You know, like we in there, we working out together. I ain't training her. We working out together. That's not a trainer, right? That's not a fitness professional. That's somebody who, well, I got one client. I got 2 clients, right?
Yeah.
I'm going from this gym to that gym. Like, no, if you're legit, set yourself up somewhere, set your business up, and really start helping people.
Mm-hmm.
Not trying to make a dollar, because I tell my guys this all the time. The money should be secondary to the amount of people you want to help.
That's it.
Right? That's important. Are you doing it for the money, or are you doing it because you truly want to help people? Because if you truly want to help people, then you're doing what it takes to level up, to set yourself up in a position to create a business.
Agreed.
So you can help as many people as possible, and you want it to be fair for them and fair for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Not trying to say, hey, pay me on the side over here, I'll train you at this place this week, over here next week. That's not conducive to a stress-free environment to allow you to get the best out of what you're trying to achieve.
Agreed.
Right? So definitely not negative. But these guys just competed. After you competed, the hardest part about competing is dealing with how you look after you compete.
That's it. You look great the first day because you carved up the next day, good to go. But one of the hardest things is this whole concept of reverse dieting. What is a reverse diet?
Basically, if we're reverse dieting out of a show, or let's say you were getting ready for a photo shoot and now you got to go back to eating normal, it's about how do I reverse the process so I can maintain a lean physique, not shredded because that's not healthy to stay like that all the time, but a lean physique, start to put muscle back on, and not gain all the fat I lost. Right, so that I end up right back where I was, because your body will start to add fat very quickly, because to get shredded, you're essentially putting your body in a state of starvation. Right. So, and with the show season coming up, and I got a bunch of people competing April 1st at the Philadelphia Classic. That's a real situation we'll be dealing with. So what I tell people is this: the hardest part is the first week.
Yeah.
If you can get past the first week, you'll be fine, because your body won't feel the need to just start storing everything. Right. So what I tell people is, the day after the show, and will work to keep you lean, and if you can actually get through this process, you'll probably stay lean the entire off season. And this is exactly what I tell them. You do your show, eat what you want that night. Get up the next morning, have a nice breakfast. Immediately go back to protein and veggies. You don't need to measure out. Just protein, veggies, some fruit. And eat a nice dinner that night. Your week should be set up to where, if you're going to train during that week, keep some carbohydrates in the morning, keep some carbohydrates after you train. Other than that, it's just protein and veggies and fruit. If you can do that for a week, at the end of the week, you can go back to pretty much having some of your cravings once a day, and you'll still stay very lean. Right? Because you've gotten through that process where your body's like wanting to absorb everything. Right? Because you're not starving. Like, that week, like, you have a nice breakfast. You might go and have, oatmeal, some toast, maybe some peanut butter in your oatmeal. Like, you're not depriving yourself. You have what you want for breakfast. It's a nice, but you keep it clean. And then during the day, chicken, fish, turkey, salmon, whatever meat you want, steak, ground beef, and you're just mixing it with some veggies in there. Have salad, fat-free dressing, piece of fruit. You're just not adding any junk. You're not doing candies. You're not doing like donuts and muffins and all that kind of stuff. You're keeping it clean. You're not going out to any fast food restaurants and eating. You're making your food yourself. So your body's just going to metabolize that because your metabolism's already elevated.
Right.
Your body's, you might actually even, you'll hold a little fluid because you're probably using some condiments that you weren't using before. But you'll actually get tighter. You won't put on a bunch of fat. You actually come out of the week and be like, man, you maybe gained 5 pounds tops, maybe 2 or 3 even. And if you can do that. If you have another show you're going to be prepping for later in the year, I actually advise against that. What I actually tell people to do, because you actually, if you continue to train, you actually allow yourself to eat a little bit, you actually add some muscle tissue right after a show.
Okay.
Right. So let's say we do a show in June, and you're going to do another show in August. I'll tell you, throw the diet out. Eat what you want this week. Still train. Still do cardio. Eat what you want. And even if you gain, because I've done this, even if you gain 30 pounds that week, you'll get back on the diet the following week because you can't stay off that long anyway. You got another show. You'll be back down. You'll probably lose all that weight within a week and a half.
Wow.
You lose all the weight because it's just water. It's just water. Is that healthiest? No. But does it mentally get you ready to get back in your diet again? Yes.
Yeah.
You get it all out of the way. Every craving you possibly could have. You're ready to diet again. Because you're sick of looking, you get sick.
I'll tell you this, he's exactly right. Because after the show we did in December, he was like, are you going to do the Arnold? Because if you do the Arnold, you can do this. If you're not, then we need to slow it down and ease into it. I was on stage at 211 and 229, and it's been 12 weeks, 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to start this next prep. And started today, get my cardio, got my diet in just to kind of ease back into it. And, hammer. I'm going old school training style, try to lift twice a day and, make it happen.
You're going to try and lift twice a day?
Yeah. I got a gym at my house, bro.
Really?
I have a gym at my house.
Yeah, I tried to lift twice a day for a while. And it didn't help me. It didn't do well for me. I didn't do, I was burnout. I didn't feel like it was a positive. The only time it became positive is when I've been dieting so long that the cardio was actually a hindrance, and I needed to keep my muscle. So I would train instead of do cardio.
Okay.
I was dropping too much weight. So at that point, one of the things we did was we did lifting twice a day to negate the cardio.
Right.
I've actually had clients do that I'm the cardio is just not giving me what I want to see. I don't like the way the body's looking. It looks tired. So we'll lift in lieu of doing cardio, and I'll be able to give them more food. So, but yeah, so to sum that up, majority of your meals, if you're going to eat 5 meals a day, I'm a big believer in yogurt too. The week after a show, if you're trying to do the reverse dieting process, because yogurt's great for your gut biome, it's great for digestion, and you put your body through so much when you're dieting for a show that it's nice to it's almost like part of the detox process. Right. It's just it just helps your body. It's an easier protein to assimilate. Right. So, but protein, veggies, fruits, go after it. If you find that you're for that week after, if you find that man, I really still just don't really want to eat protein, then don't eat protein. Keep it mostly veggies, fruit, and some Greek yogurt. And I said protein, I meant meat. I just don't want to eat meat. Do shakes. Get your protein in other forms. I'm okay with that. It's not going to mess you up. You're not going to lose muscle because
Right.
you're going to be at an elevated caloric level than what you were right before your show anyway. And then after that, we start, then we start
Manipulating.
the macronutrients and the calories, and we do it slow, 5 to 10% jumps every week until you're back at your maintenance level. And at that point, you should be in good condition. And then we start to say, okay, we're going to put on size now, and then we start elevating that. So, but yeah, it's as long as it's done slowly, you shouldn't gain too much unwanted fat.
True.
Yeah.
And that's the key is, I think that's the benefit, one of the true benefits of having a professional work with you, especially going to a show or even creating a lifestyle plan that you can maintain even after the time you separate from your professional. It's the knowledge that you should be getting during the process.
Yeah.
Should be able to help you manage it along the way. And I think that, like you said, all these gurus have all these ideas on how to train and how to do this and how that. When quite honestly, it's really dependent on you and your body, because your body is different. And we have the benefit of seeing thousands of bodies, and we would, okay, you fit this kind of profile after we work with you and understand how you're changing.
I mean, that's definitely the advantage. Rashad, I think you would even agree, like, when you have a larger sample size of people you work with, one of the advantages of working with a fitness professional or someone that does this consistently with hundreds of thousands of people, we're going to keep you from smacking into the wall 100 times before you know what direction you're supposed to go in.
I remember I was telling somebody this the other day, like when I first started. I remember I had this client, and she still follows me on Instagram to this day, but first, one of the questions she asked me was, like 2017, 2018, she said, oh, you got any examples of people you help? And I was like,
Use friends.
So, but and then now I just pointed the wall of people that I already put up there, and then two, I didn't realize this because I'm going through all my files, seeing like who I haven't talked to in a while and whatnot. I realized I've talked to over 500 people since I've been here, and legit helped probably like 200 and something, like people who actually listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah, I feel you.
So,
Yeah, my years, I mean, mine totals upwards of 6,000-7,000 people.
Yeah.
So it's, and I said, I laugh because when people's kids start coming to me, I'm like, damn, I've been doing this a long time, but the only advantage to that is there's not a whole lot I'm going to run into that I don't know how to deal with.
Right.
But I haven't dealt with. So, but yeah, you guys hopefully heard some good stuff today.
Yeah.
And we're just to remind you, this contest,
The Renaissance Transformation, baby.
2 Beyonce tickets.
2, not 1, 2 tickets.
Yeah.
Lower level, Queen Bee.
So I mean, the concert's in Washington
In
D.C.
D.C.
So if you're in anywhere from New Jersey to Virginia,
and PA in between, you are in.
yeah, I mean,
All you gotta do is-
that's a no-brainer. Those tickets are hot, man. I don't even think you can get them, right?
They sold out. The show sold out. I mean, the tickets right now in the section that we have are selling for $1,300, including the fees per ticket. So we're at $2,600 value, maybe more depending on the show date. And I think the reason we're ending it early, so when you win your tickets, they're yours. If you want to attempt to try to make a little bit of extra money, that's on you. But there's an opportunity here for somebody to walk away with a big kickoff to their summer vacation. We're going to go see Beyonce the first week of August. That's pretty freaking dope.
That is pretty dope. So
the link is below. Sign up.
Definitely subscribe to the channel. If you like what we're doing, please leave comments so we know what you want to hear. That's a big one. We are, willing to talk about whatever, but we just need to know what you guys want to hear about. So please leave a comment, and look for us every Monday at 12 p.m. We'll be dropping a new video.
Yep.
And thanks for rocking with us again.
Peace.